Hello everyone, welcome to Chapter 16 of Vampire the Masquerade, a chronicle set in New York City, detailing four neonates as they struggle to get fucked. It's very difficult and challenging.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. All you need to have are the blood points to spend for it.
Yes, Aaron got a new mic.
Alright. So, Sunday, April 5th, 1998, sunset. 5 nights ago, the coterie assaulted the domain of Vsevolod Cerveni, not Cephalopod, Penny, with the help of Archon Theo Bell himself. Their mission, retrieving the Heart of Icthoru, a demonic artifact with mystical properties, according to Theo Bell. And seeing as how it has revived kindred from torpor, might be true. Heavily wounded by the Tzimisce fleshcrafters' horrific creations, they nevertheless succeeded in their task and escaped back to the surface world. During this time, they've healed their wounds and reflected upon their success, while casting a watchful eye towards the political scene. 3 of them have also reflected on their failures, for David Green fell into torpor once more. However, David hasn't told them that Theo woke him up. Anyway, let's recap what occurred during the downtime. On April 2nd, 1998, of course Chapter 15 ended the morning of the 1st, the Tremere's assault on Vsevolod Cerveni becomes public knowledge among all kindred. The eerie weather has stopped, and Auspex experts note a curious thing. For as long as anyone could recall, an unidentifiable malaise had burdened New York City. Now it seems some of that malignant presence has vanished. Perhaps it's because Vsevolod Cerveni himself met final death, along with the former Sheriff Kadir al-Esmai, whose form had been corrupted by the flesh-crafting fiend. Details of the assault are nearly impossible to come by for the player characters, despite their increasing status in the Camarilla, but it would seem the victory came at a considerable price. They don't know the specifics, so neither do you, but you do know many Tremere assets were lost in the assault, including several warlocks native to the city. You also know that Eugenio Genie Estevez isn't among them, for he's too busy extolling the virtues of Clan Tremere, and by extension himself. For now, the other 2 prince candidates do not publicly respond to what has happened, at least not on April 2nd. Opinions among kindred as a whole seem mixed. Warlocks are universally distrusted, but they have also sacrificed so much for the Camarilla. While they have constantly harped on their key contributions to taking New York City from the Sabbat, their declarations are not without merit. Hell, they even dealt with some super-powerful Tzimisce autarchus living beneath Central Park, a fiend who had subverted the sheriff himself, and the Tremere did it on their own. Even if almost no one understands the true significance of the affair, there is an increasing level of both respect and fear for the warlocks. If they could do that to a 6th gen who had lived for 1,500 years, imagine what they could do to a sorry neonate new to the Big Apple. In short, Genie, who had seemed like a distant third for the princedom, is rapidly gaining steam. Undecided Ventru and Toreador elements now fully give their support to the warlock, likely in the hope of keeping the old conservative power block intact. Now, on April 3rd, Dragon Metro Cab Company President Tom Danzig donated a total of $1 million to various metropolitan charities working to assist those in need, especially after emergency services were strained following the tragic series of natural disasters. The company is commended for its great heart and commitment to the city. And also, on that night, the financial opportunities listed as rewards to the player characters became available. On April 4th, which happened to be yesterday in the campaign world, the princedom, of course, is still remaining a tense stalemate between Marlena, Carter, Vanderweyden, and Genie. Marlena might have the most kindred on her side, and Carter perhaps has the most powerful kindred on his side. Genie undoubtedly has the full public support of the Tremere, which is a big fucking deal. At this time, no candidate has publicly named himself prince. Instead, the 3 and their supporters have intensified their political maneuvering and backroom dealing. When all is said and done, someone will be left standing, but it's anyone's guess as to who. Now, for you player characters, as well as for those of you watching through Jordan's stream, you'll have noticed the 5 boroughs map is more decorated, as I've actually noted. Most, perhaps not all of them, but most of the domains throughout the 4 of the 5 boroughs of various kindred living within the metropolitan area. A summary of that would be that Tremere, Toreador, Ventru, and Bruges numbers throughout the 5 boroughs are roughly equal, and a city that is rapidly increasing, if not already at 250 total kindred. You have lesser numbers of Nosferatu, maybe a dozen or so Malkavian total. You've, of course, got several Giovanni. Setites are still focused in the Bronx, as well as the Bed-Stuy-Vescent and Bedford-Stuyvesant, in Brooklyn, and you have a little bit there near Morningside Heights in Harlem. But they're slowly being cut out as well, as the Camarilla noose around the 5 boroughs has tightened. Of course, your knowledge about Anarch domains are just practically non-existent, for none of you are welcome. At least none of you live or express, clear public interest in Anarch interest for quite some time. It's also worth noting that none of you still know where the fuck Marlena has her domain. There are still obvious, empty spots as in the 5 boroughs as people have moved out and moved in. This is to compensate for the fact, or at least illustrate the fact that this is still a city of opportunity where new kindred can move in. Domains tend to be the largest in Brooklyn simply because of the vast amount of neighborhood territory there is to cover. Catherine Weiss's domain has gotten a bit bigger, and some of the folks are feeling out their roots and realizing they can expand a bit more. Also, through the process of things, Steinway used to be unoccupied. However, 2 Tremere warlocks have sort of moved in there and taken up shack, and you'll see a few other Tremere smattered about Queens as well. Now, daylight saving time started this morning, and it seems not even vampires are exempt from such a change. For whatever curious reason, a coincidence, a subconscious whim, or the designs of a supreme being just beyond the 4th wall, your unliving bodies have compensated for the time shift. Consequently, when sunset occurs at 7:25 p.m., the 4 of you awaken shortly before 11:30 p.m. David and Joseph are naturally asleep in their respective havens. Marcus has moved to the Majestic, I assume, Jordan?
Yes.
And Byron's decided to relocate as well, hasn't he?
That he has. So
Why don't you tell us a bit about Byron's new digs?
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually close to David, I just noticed. But it's a townhouse near the water with a basement that is or will be connected to a drainage outlet, so he can GTFO if he needs to. It's right along the East River. He's only had about 3 days to furnish it, so he's thrown in a couple of cheap chairs and a folding card table type thing. It's nothing much right now, but hopefully he can get that thing set up.
All right, gentlemen, the ball, as is usually the case, is in your court. Hit me.
Well, unfortunately, I can reach through standard TCIP to actually hit you.
I don't know. I don't know if that'd be a good idea anyway, even if he asked. I'm not sure.
Well, he said hit him.
David's actually going to be visiting his therapist. After everything that happened, he feels like he needs to talk out the events that happened, though he's going to try to avoid specific details.
Well, therapist Esteban de Chico is
Yes.
more than welcome to speak with David Green about what's happening. That's clear that the circumstances, particularly after being revived from torpor again, can be very taxing. However, David's done a pretty spectacular job of beating back his berserk insanity, and
Right.
the ring. Go ahead.
And he really doesn't want to risk getting a little bit more unbalanced by everything that's gone on.
Your therapist will definitely ask you whether you've gotten in contact with the other members of your group there in Astoria since what transpired.
And David will say that he hasn't.
Do you plan on doing that sometime?
Yeah, once I'm sure what I'm going to tell them.
Ah. You haven't constructed a proper web of deceit yet.
Or at least figured out a way to frame my honesty.
Of course not. Well, how much do you tell him? Like, what are the circumstances that the therapist is going to know about what happened? You gotta be...
He's going to try to leave it relatively vague. Exposure to dark magic, close brush with torpor, that sort of stuff.
And while your coterie mates think you're unconscious, again, you're not.
No, I'm not, and that'll be surprising to them and leave them with questions.
You know, why are you so worried about telling them?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've got questions too. I got pretty spooked by the whole thing, you know?
All right. We know what David Green's gonna be up to.
Yeah, he'll be talking that out for a while. And now's actually good enough to go try and wrangle one of the dogs.
All right.
Yeah, I guess Byron's going a little stir crazy. He's been doing little except, oh yeah, he's training Auspex with Marcus as well. So,
Marcus
I guess
is being taught presence.
Am I teaching you that now? I mean, you know, it's a, you know,
It would be easy to just both it. I mean, Auspex isn't exactly a very hard discipline to learn, and presence is a clan discipline for Toreador.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know if you'd taken me up on that. I mean, I said I would, so you're learning that then. So Byron will head to Madison Square Gardens and see if there's anything going on there. So see if he can figure out what's going on with the three contenders, if anyone will let anything slip, and maybe he'll see Valentine there.
All right.
Joseph, sorry about that. Joseph, not got class right now. Not got a class to sneak into right now. So he's probably hitting up Elysium too, Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
And he now has the ability to drive himself there.
Fantastic. But does he really want to be alone?
Well, it would be good. It'd be nice to finally have both of them actually working at the same time.
Right. So how did Joseph celebrate this whole process when he was like, I finally know how to drive?
Probably just fucking around downtown with just driving around obfuscated. No. Probably a little bit more subtle than that. Probably a little bit more not as stupid as that. Just finally driving himself somewhere by himself.
Yelling at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, probably.
My friends ate a demon heart!
Marcus has nothing better to do, so he'll go to Elysium too. I mean, his student's there, so he needs to watch out for the student.
Sure, that's fair.
You guys are not gonna believe this. Through a curious series of peculiar coincidences, perhaps it's due to the fact, New York City is in much better shape than it was a week ago. Almost all the snow has been cleared off. Temperatures have normalized and stabilized so that they're quite, they're quite comfortable now for human beings and perhaps even for vampires as well. You're actually in like a a 60-degree range instead of 0. Or whenever the thunderstorm had hit, as high as the like high 80s there, when the tornadoes struck the city. And the donations that Dragon Metro Cab Company President Tom Danzig, and of course the entirety of the company, with their near monopoly on cab travel, have given, and all the intensive, care and effort and focus, it truly seems as, the city itself has banded together, and perhaps a rare moment of compassion in this horrific world of darkness, sort of unified as one, perhaps an unintentional side effect of Tremere's will. Regardless, in this most curious of coincidences, Joseph in his car and Marcus and Byron taking public transportation, you've all ended up at Elysium at the same time.
Amazing.
Incidents, nothing to look into.
As for what's going on in Madison Square Garden, well, I mean, there's no events for the kind. By the time you're getting here, it's already past midnight. And no late basketball game. Elysium security force is out in the boot, overseeing affairs, and all three of you are certainly trained in noticing, how attentive the ESF is in regards to not allowing humans near. It's amazing, in the middle of Manhattan, in a gigantic metropolitan area such as New York City, it's quite fascinating how they are all so effective. But then again, if they're vampires, Kindred can do quite a many things if they put their minds to it. As for what's actually happening in Madison Square Garden itself, Keeper of Elysium's not in. You do have a smattering of Kindred just talking about things, discussing affairs. Of course, few people might be talking about the overseer of New York City, Archon Theo Bell. He left town for a day apparently, but he is back and in full force and still 100% seemingly unapproachable, like he is perpetually angry. His sunglasses have remained a constant feature of not being on his face, along with his New York Yankees cap. He sort of like sequestered himself up in the private box, just overseeing, paperwork and perhaps organizing things as, Theo Bell hasn't exactly been known for a political paper pusher, and that's sort of what he's become here, just to make sure that the Camarilla fucking hold their shit together until a new prince is named. You can imagine that he's probably having the time of his life. As for, like, any sort of resolution of stalemate, no, that's why it's a stalemate.
Dog wrangled.
So no new details fall out.
Nope.
All right, well, I guess since the other two are there, I'll say, well, I guess we all had the same idea, and there just ain't nothing going on here.
I mean, of course, you still have Marlena. She is, like the populist prince candidate. She has more kindred on her side than any of the other two candidates. But Carter Vanderweyden has, Catherine Weiss, Mez, Thomas Arturo, Valentine, if you want to count Calibros. He's got the most influential kindred on his side, and Genie has the Tremere. And so long as they're a unified front, and so long as they've done... It's fresh in the minds of all kindred what the Warlocks have done for the city, and the whole prying Sevalod Cerveni out of his goddamn mansion below Central Park, not even if everyone else wasn't there, doesn't really understand the significance. That's still a big deal. And the Tremere are like riding a high, bigger than ever. Besides, they might have some assets, perhaps allocated from the Vienna Chantry that might still be in the city. And, there's a good reason why the Warlocks are greatly respected and feared.
If there's something Vienna here, that means that vampire is probably the most hopeful being in the city right now.
You know, you all don't know a whole lot about what Tremere do, but, you know, they might have had a great amount of gargoyles shipped over, you know, personal resources sent, you know, from across the Atlantic Ocean to, you know, assets to work here in, you know, New York City, just to properly bring down Sevlot. I mean, you don't think that fucking weather can change off the drop of a hat. No, no. That's Tremere weather satellites. They're watching you.
Well, so I guess have we gone in yet? We haven't said it, so I'll just go in then and say so.
I mean, Marcus has pretty much been wandering around.
Yeah, that's what you folks have been doing.
Okay, I was
We've been basically wandering around the Madison Square Garden. There's not many people here, so in general, they're not really little.
Right. So Byron will ask both Marcus and Joseph, together or separately, if you can't find them both together, if they have heard anything from David, because it's been 3 or 4 days, and the Archon said he'd take care of it, but there's no news. So since we're here, maybe we could ask what happened to the body.
Yeah, I want to keep his body safe again. See if the Archon's taking care of it. We can go ahead and ask him. It's a bit rude, maybe, but I mean, he is our coterie mate. I don't know why we let the Archon take his body in the first place. Really should be us taking care of it, but if he wanted it, it's not going to say no to him.
Right. Well, it can't hurt to ask. If he says no, he doesn't want to see us, then we go. But pretty sure we could ask somebody around here. Maybe Nicole is around here, and she'll talk to him, and we can ask him if he knows where David Green is.
Yeah, just want to make sure body's safe, because I don't know, it feels uncomfortable to not have his body sitting in my cellar.
Yeah, I mean, how else are you going to look at its dick?
All right, so I guess we try to find Elysium Security and ask if we could get a quick message to Theo Bell.
Let's just walk straight up in there. I mean,
There's nothing stopping you.
When we walk in there.
Yeah. Unless, you know, one of the guards who's standing outside the door are going to prevent you from walking into that private box. You guys are going to be fine. Besides, think of all of what you've done for the Camarilla, man.
We got a little status now.
Your names are recognized, to be sure. Perhaps for the good, perhaps for the worse.
Joseph's got certainly more strut than he deserves now.
Well, at least he recognizes it's more than he deserves.
Oh, no, he doesn't. I do.
Well, at least there's some fourth wall recognition going on.
So, I guess we head into the box?
Certainly. And move your tokens there. Upon entering the room, as it turns out, Theo Bell is pretty much in the state where how he looked whenever you all walked in there, nearly a week ago now. The glasses are off, the jacket is cast over the chair, you know, no cap, shotgun is resting against the back wall. Doesn't look like he has any injuries. He must have healed those up as well from his time down there beneath Central Park. Currently has this massive, you know, stack of papers and folders just resting there on the desk, and it seems as if all sorts of papers are scattered about on those 3 tables where the maps and the plans used to be for getting down there into Central Park. As if maybe he's reviewing intelligence reports, you know, trying to examine whether the Sabbat are going to be a threat. Who knows what the hell the Archon does. Upon the door opening and you 3 stepping in, though, the face brightens a little. And he says, "Ah, Joseph, Byron, Marcus. Come in, come in, come in. A large hand lifts and waves you all in. What can I do for you?
Firstly, I think we'd like to know how David Green is doing. We haven't heard anything about it since the events.
Yeah, just wondering if you're taking care of the body, if you want to get the body off your hands, I'd be certainly to have him as a guest again.
Theo blinks, looking at the three of you. Oh.
That is not reassuring.
I thought he would have told you.
Joseph face bumps.
Theo shrugs. I haven't spoken with him since that morning.
Spoken to. That implies that he was in a condition to listen.
David Green is no longer in torpor. As such, I figured given how it's been 5 days, he would have made contact with the 3 individuals who helped to oversee the domain of Astoria.
Byron's just going to look right to the two of them because he's thinking, how the heck he got a torpor that fast? And there's really only one conclusion. He kind of is waiting for the rest of them to reach that.
Well then, unless one of the two of you had something else you wanted to bring up, I think we have a friend to look up.
Indeed. Before we go, is there anything that you would need us to do, Theo? We are at your disposal, at least I'm at your disposal. It doesn't look like you're having too much fun here shoving papers around.
Theo's neutral face, doesn't react. He does end up pausing a bit before shaking his head. No, I think we're good. I definitely think we're good. Like Thoru's heart and everything. Yeah, that takes care of the major concern. Unless you can instantly solve the princedom problem, and get me the hell out of this damn city, I think we're fine.
I think that's I think that one's a little bit outside our league at the moment.
Theo nods. Mine too.
Well then, thank you for the information. I guess we'll leave you to it then.
Theo offers polite, neutral farewells as the 3 of you exit. And he goes back to his work.
Well then, how does one go about finding a Nosferatu that doesn't want to be found? It's nice to know that he's up and about, but I don't think it really changes anything. He needs to contact us.
It's fair to note that since the 3 of you thought he was in torpor, you've never done anything like attempt to call him.
Yeah, Joseph pulled out his phone on that and just sort of, we can try to give him a call. If he's an ass enough to ignore our call, then we can deal with that later. And he'll go ahead and.
Okay. David Green, you are just finishing up with your therapist, Dr. Esteban de Chico.
When I get a buzz?
Yup. That's from Joseph.
All right. Well, David will take a look at the phone and then say, it's them.
The Dr. DeChico looks at you, shrugs, and says, "What are you gonna do?"
I'm gonna take it. I think they found out.
Nods like, if they are as important to the functions of controlling your domain as you say they are, then I think it's important to be as honest with them as you can.
Yeah, and I kind of like some of them too.
Oh, liking them. Ah, it's even worse.
I know. And then David will answer the phone and say, "Green."
Blue.
Hello, David.
Joseph.
So, you're awake?
Yep.
Yeah! So, are you gonna go ahead and tell us anytime?
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to, eventually.
Ah.
You talked to Theo, or was this just a spontaneous call?
As much as I'd like to say it was just something I knew off the top of my head, no, we went and I was gonna ask Theo to keep your body somewhere safe. It's uncomfortable having a coterie member out and about. Um, and he said he just sort of told us.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
that's fine. I didn't swear him to secrecy or anything.
Yeah, he was surprised that you hadn't already told us.
So, anything going on?
No, just sort of being happy that we're still undead.
That's an odd thing to be happy about.
Well, it's better than life sometimes.
Right.
Didn't have to take a piss this morning.
Uh-huh.
Here's Byron. And he'll hand the phone to Byron.
So, having a nice chat about bodily functions, David?
Well, I mean, Joseph is having a nice chat about them.
Right. Anyhow, he'll kind of sideline glance at Joseph. So, it's good to know you're up and around. There's really not that much going on. I don't know how much you've kept up with the happenings the past few days, but seems pretty calm. We were just hitting Elysium to see if there was anything happening, and the only thing happening was Theobel saying that, yeah, you've been around for the last few days.
Yep.
Well, do you have, is there anything that you need to look into that we could help you with? Because, I mean, Byron is obviously at a loss. He wants to go do something. But he's just reaching. And so what's going on with you?
Oh, Nosferatu stuff.
Right. There was one curious thing might want that I've been thinking of. That guy Danzig's been in the news. That Ouroboros cab company keeps popping up. We tried to look into it the first time you were in Torpor, and we had poor results. That might be worth looking into, maybe.
I'll keep you guys informed if I do look into it.
Very well. Well, let us know if, I'm assuming you have your reasons for staying out of contact. Give us a call if you need anything.
Will do.
All right, well, with that, Byron will hang up the phone and hand it back to Joseph. After that wonderfully awkward phone call. Yeah, he didn't come out and say it, but I think our coterie mate wants some alone time.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to not have his personal space.
True. So, I don't know. I guess I'll go check out Madison Square and see if anything's going on there, and if nothing, I'll head back to Astoria and look after the business, Majestic, and Mindy Haven.
Did you guys take a little peek at that cab company?
Well, we could.
I'm just saying. I mean, it's fucking Ouroboros. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, it's an Ouroboros, and he's almost got a monopoly over all the cab business in town, and those two in conjunction worry me a little bit.
So you want to go over there and check out the place again, except this time not, get the cops called?
Yeah, we'll need to be a little bit more careful this time.
Yeah. Good news, everybody. I didn't bring my gun.
Good job.
To which everyone says, thank fucking God.
Considering his only gun is an SMG. I mean, be a little hard to explain. All right then. So did rain drive you this time, Joseph?
No, I've been learning myself. What's that look for?
Can you drive us?
Yeah.
Or shall I drive, and so that way you don't crash us into it in a fit of glee?
Oh, okay. I get the jokes. If you really want to drive, that said, I'm probably gonna. It depends on how we want to go about checking the place out. We got a view from the outside before. There's no reason we can't write up a game plan right now.
True.
So, obviously, when I go in, I want to be a little bit stealthier than everyone else.
Yeah, what I
Okay.
suggest is, who knows if the same guard is going to be on duty, so I probably should not go in first. How about Marcus walks in and you follow him obfuscated, perhaps, although they have cameras, so that would see you.
Well, they'll see me if they get the recording in. That said, cameras, if someone's on the other side of it, live feed, it works through the cameras. They can't see me at the time, but yeah, if someone goes over the recordings, they'll see me. But I mean, as long as we're not doing something radically stupid, that shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. If they're different guards, I might come with you, but who knows if they're going to recognize me again.
I'll go in first, just to have nothing that can really, awe them, dominate them. Really, I'm just gonna walk in there and say hi.
Yeah, that's the other thing we need to do is why do we want someone in there? What's we need some legitimate reason to have someone in there. If you can do something with them legitimately and look at them in some legitimate form, that'd be fine. I'm trying to think of which we'd
Punch me.
Well, I mean, it could be as easy as going in there saying maybe you lost your phone and you need to make a phone call or something, and that was a place where the lights are on and people are in there. That might be doable. It'll at least get them to open the door, maybe.
Yeah, that said, all I need is a little bit of leeway to be able to get in there when can't see me. Getting out, I'm not so worried about because I find that when you just sort of open a door from the outside, from the inside, and just walk through, people usually don't freak out too much. Well, then again, we're also dealing with someone that may know what the hell's going on with vampires, so that could end badly. Um, so,
We could just try breaking into the place.
yeah, they reacted last time. We just walked in and set off the metal detector.
No, I mean
immediately.
go to the back door and try to jimmy the lock or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but security's going to be pretty tight. It doesn't seem like a place that's going to have easy access.
Just a thought.
And if we do break in, then someone's going to review the tape at the point, so my obfuscate becomes pointless.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, this type of thing might be a situation where we want to talk with our resident expert, and we may want to wait till he wants to come with us.
Yeah, might. He may also decide to wait a month, and then sometime in that month he'll blow up the world. I mean, I don't know. Just throwing out ideas.
I mean, we could call him and say, hey, can you do something tonight, or do you really have to?
Well, no, it was Byron bringing it up to him that made me remember to mention it, and he didn't seem to want to.
Yeah, he just told me that if he decided to go look into it, he would give us a call. So that to me meant that he doesn't want us around, at least at this stage. So I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what, I would rather give it a day. We can try calling him tomorrow if we don't hear from him. But I'm content to give him the space, and I'm actually in no rush to go break down the door of the Metro Cab Company.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's sensible enough. Then we'll just put this off until he's ready.
Okay. If we must.
Yeah, so I guess with that I'll say, well, you mind dropping me and probably Marcus off in Astoria?
Oh, no, certainly. Come on.
Yeah, let's check out your driving.
Please don't kill us. That's the last thing I need. Survive all these things and then suddenly car crash.
Joseph, let's have a dexterity plus drive from us for you at difficulty 4.
Mother, if you fail this.
It's not a botch! Not a botch.
It's not a bot.
I didn't drive off the bridge.
You did not drive off the bridge.
This time,
But you
I
did
think you
run a
did.
stop sign.
That's it.
I think you need to go back to driving school.
Joseph has some touch and go moments. Perhaps the roads are still maybe a little slick. There may have been a traffic light that Joseph's just sort of coasted his way across. There may have been a tense moment there. He was like, "Fuck it, I'm going through." Someone trying to make a turn, like ah. Whatever the circumstance, Joseph does end up getting to Astoria, but it's a harrowing endeavor. Perhaps some jerky car movement. Stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. But it happens.
Byron will get out and say, say to Joseph, thanks for the ride. Give my best regards to Rain and tell her that I missed seeing her tonight. And with that, he's going to walk off.
Marcus is gonna walk into the first bar that he recognizes and just not say anything.
There are now 2 vampires in the street being flipped off by a priest.
that sounds like the setup to a very weird joke.
That joke being Joseph.
Yes, Joseph is the entire joke.
Joseph will go ahead and drive home.
Okay. So, what will the 4 kindred will be doing for the remainder of Monday morning, April 6th?
Well, first things first, David's going to go find some sort of stock periodical and find out if the Dragon Metro company is publicly traded.
Okay. Definitely does seem like they're a private company. One who Tom Danzig. It's not publicly traded. There are like different like owners who have different stakes in like the shares of the company. Tom Danzig is high and away the clear majority owner. That is why he is president and ruler of Dragon Metro Cap Company.
He is the king of Dragon Metro!
Particularly with them buying out the Sunshine Cabs or whatever the hell I told you about, and their extensive involvement and interest throughout all 5 boroughs, although their primary, stronghold is here in Manhattan, at the office that is depicted. It's only all of like 13 stories. It's not, a huge building, but they still have a major operation all the same, controlling, like 10,000? Plus medallions throughout the city. I think you're more familiar with it than I am.
Yeah, I mean, and given the fact that a single medallion can go for upwards of $1 million,
Yeah.
that's, Dave was going to look into, since they're a local company that's not publicly traded, he's going to find some sort of publication that focuses on them, even if it's, taxi and limousine services monthly.
All right, that seems fair.
Basically, he's going to look into the story of how they've been going about acquiring all these, or what little story there is, if there's any.
All right. Go ahead and give me a perception plus investigation, or whatever the fuck it's called, one of those intelligence skills, at difficulty 7.
All right, that works for me.
I figured it would.
And I don't think Trained Observer would apply here because I'm mostly, picking through information.
No, it does
and
not
stuff.
apply.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
One,
Looks like
2,
3 successes.
3 successes, it looks like to me. Throughout the course of this night, as David Green is pouring through some, public information surrounding Dragon Metro Cab Company. See, now I'm trying to remember some of what I've told you guys throughout the past. How they're doing this, a primary reason why the cab company has been so profitable is due, to its tagline, quick and efficient will make sure you get home safe. And it definitely seems like that is true. Cabbies are really targeted for crime. And in real life, that was the case, in the 60s and 70s, but it sort of petered out whenever the crime wave vanished. Well, here in the world of darkness, the crime wave hasn't exactly vanished. As such, cabbies are prime targets for robbery, and the cab drivers themselves have been known to be assaulted and murdered, depending on occasion. Dragon Metro Cab Company, when it comes to their cabs, has a sickening, absolutely ridiculously, almost non-existent amount of crime associated with them at all. They don't get carjacked. Burglary doesn't happen. No one tries to rob the cabbies. No one hurts the cabbies. The folks who drive for Dragon Metro Cab Company are almost assuredly safe. As such, it really does a great boon in service to their public image, perhaps subconsciously. It's the whole sort of association where it's perhaps no fault of any other cab that you blame them for getting targeted through robbery. The fact that the Dragon Metro Cab Company is only in the news for great things and positive things works great wonders for their image, and consequently more and more people want to ride on those cabs because they feel safe in those cabs. And so
it's just as much that the other companies are losing business as that they're gaining it.
Yes. And as it's harming, the other companies, they're losing money. Dragon Metro Cab Company has the resources, apparently, to expand into those endeavors and take over those medallions. And it's just a spiraling effect. Of course, you have the president, Tom Danzig. As for other gentlemen who are associated with it, I'll go ahead and give you their names, for that is all information you can figure out with what you have to do. There are only 3 other individuals who have stake in the Dragon Metro Cab Company, like actual ownership of it. You have Carl Beck, who is the director of marketing. You have Ludwig Dietrich, who is the director of human resources, and you have Herman Heydrich, who is the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer of Dragon Metro Cab Company. They are all based in the same locale that Tom Danzig himself is based, which is the primary corporate office in Manhattan.
All right. And have all of these men been observed out and about during the day?
They certainly have. Same with Tom Danzig. He's been out during the day as well. The company itself, Dragon Metro Cab Company, is actually known to work 24/7. The corporate office remains open at almost all times of year. They close for holidays, close for, say, important events if something tragic happens. But beyond that, the workers come and go.
And are there any editorials by freelance, independent cabbies about the company?
There have certainly been reports. Obviously, people decry the whole taxi medallion bullshit that occurs. They think it should be a more free enterprise rather than being controlled by the TLC. And of course, you have people who are sort of disgruntled with the whole prospect of, such a vast controller of taxi cab medallions within the city. That being said, it's hard to argue with the lack of crime that there has been targeting these cabbies, and the quality of vehicles that they use. They don't really suffer engine breakdowns, mechanical car failures. They're well maintained. The upholstery inside the vehicle is intact. People don't have a problem with their cab drivers, and they're of all types, male, female, and all from immigrants to folks who are naturalized and native to New York City itself.
All right, and do they rent out the medallions, or do they employ cabbies?
They definitely have a large amount of cabbies they employ, but they'll also lease out their medallions as well.
All right, all right.
They have garages and offices all throughout the boroughs and throughout, the rest of the metropolitan area as well. It's just the primary focus for all taxi cab traffic is Manhattan.
And any snippets of reporters or cabbies discussing their odd logo?
No, that doesn't actually seem to be a curious thing at all. If anything, it's more like a marketing genius in that of how recognizable the symbol is.
That's legit.
It's not like just any cab company. You see the Ouroboros, this serpent coiled in on itself, lit up, the sign on top of the cab, and a heavy rain night. You'll be safe.
All right. Well, having checked all of that out, and lacking any financial records to pour over or anything like that, David will call everyone up.
Okay. It'll be around 4:30 a.m. for the type of research that you've done. Marcus is, of course, getting crunk.
Yeah, I assumed that David got all of the various periodicals and stuff that he wanted and brought them back to his haven to look over.
That's certainly fine. And Marcus has been out in the club. Byron has sort of been out doing like some studying, maybe like reviewing financial documents of his own. Joseph feels alive still, I imagine.
Pick up the phone, motherfucker. Ring, ring, ring up the phone.
Yeah, what's up?
And this is a group call. He's calling everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
Those are the names and their titles, by the way, that I gave you.
Oh, well, fantastic. Hey, I've looked a little bit into the Dragon Metro Company.
Very nice.
So it looks like the main draw of the company is the fact that there are basically no reported incidents of carjackings, robberies, or any other crimes involving the cabs. They consistently offer safe travel, and it's sort of pushed the competition out and allowed them to grab their share of the market. They've been turning a lot of their profits towards purchasing up more medallions and securing an ever larger market share. Aside from the symbol and the curious lack of incidents, there isn't too much overly suspicious about them on the surface. Aside from that, and aside from the President Danzig, there are a few controlling parties. There's Carl Beck, the Director of Marketing, Ludwig Dietrich, Director of Human Resources, and Herman Heydrich, the CFO. I'm going to take a look into each of them, but so far, you wouldn't be able to tell that there's anything odd about them. Well, aside from the obvious.
Any of those people possibly vampires?
All of them have been seen outside during the daylight hours, but I'm not ruling out the possibility that one or more of them are ghouls.
Yeah, and you definitely have the editorials and periodicals backed it up. Certainly, Tom Danzig himself was photographed out in public during the daylight whenever he made those generous donations.
And I figured that the others have been photographed at similar
Absolutely.
events. So yeah, they are absolutely not vampires, but I'm not ruling out the possibility that they're ghouls. Of course, this could be something else entirely, but Between the curious lack of crime and their logo, I'm inclined to remain suspect.
Well, like my sire always used to say, never trust the whole Roman Empire. The Germans.
Never trust the Habsburgs. That's me out of character talking. Marcus doesn't know anything about European things. He's like, oh,
Well, that's
okay.
what she is. But
Marcus is like, okay.
But yes, I don't. It is interesting. I mean, Baron asks, like, how do you make your cabs more secure? I mean, it's odd that all crime would avoid them.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Well,
It is terribly odd. I can't tell you the number of times that I had to deal with a cabbie getting robbed or shanked or carjacked or anything else like that. It's frankly bizarre how low the crime is.
So, and it's worth noting, David, as Dragon Metro Cab Company has controlled more and more of cab interest here within New York City. As a result, the aggregate, amount of crime that occurs with taxicabs has dropped, and it is on a steady decline this entire time.
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, if it was just, if they were still small or something, my first guess would be underreporting, or they paid someone off to screw with the records to make them look better. But this big, there's no way they can be controlling every single police officer in the entire thing, and all that
Well,
stuff
and
would be showing up.
it very much looks like this is the main factor that contributed to their steady gain of the market share and their gain of the medallions.
Yeah, if it's just doing better than everyone else, just lets them keep getting more and more, which leads them to keep doing better and better, and it's just cycles. The thing that makes me wonder is, it's the big question: how are they doing it? And my obvious answer is some kind of magic.
there's something. It's obvious to me that they're up to some sort of no good, whether it's just of the kind variety or if there's something else involved. I don't know. However, if it's just kind, it might be a way for us to gather some more assets.
Well, they are steadily approaching a monopoly. That's problematic. Getting involved in that in any sort of positive way could lead to us taking a huge loss.
Yeah, and we don't know if there's nothing Sabat related to them. We don't know who in the ivory tower might be trying to ease
Plus,
into that.
with the amount of medallions they're controlling right now, aside from their gross annual revenue, you're looking at a billion-dollar company, maybe more.
Right. You did get that I was talking about blackmail, right?
Yeah.
All right. That was Byron actually saying that out loud because he wasn't sure. It's like,
And David says, yeah, no, I got that. But between the assets they could throw at us and the fact that if we got involved in them and the police, for some reason, grew interested in their growing monopoly, we could have issues. Or the IRS, for that sake.
true. I admit I was getting ahead of things.
And certainly Byron and Joseph and Marcus will recall the very quick police response that occurred during their one visit they previously paid to Dragon Metro Cab Company.
Yeah.
Yeah, Byron isn't going to bring it up because it was rather embarrassing. So one of you two might want to fill him in.
Yeah, they've got some kind of police connections, and that said, in terms of any money or name connections, anything that, you know, traceable kind ways is, it would be just too dangerous. It would kill us.
So I guess we just need to know more if we're going to pursue this.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone else in the Ivory Tower, as far as I've heard, is looking into it. And sorry, it freaks me out. Maybe it's just because of our dealings with that symbol that it freaks us out a little bit more than it's freaking everyone else out in the Ivory Tower.
You
Right.
gotta do, Stinger.
Well, at the moment, what I'd really like to look into is the personal histories of each of the major individuals associated with the company. Danzig will be the easiest to find, as he's the closest thing to a public front that there is, but the others might be a little bit more guarded. How do you want to approach this? Do you want to try to get our friends in the police to look into it? Do you want to ask Theo Bell for help? I'm open to suggestions.
We could ask Theo, but that said, I don't think he's going to throw much help our way. I don't think it's something that's on top of the list of things that's really important to him. I mean, it may be, but we don't have anything showing that it's anything even related to some Sabat or anything like that. It's just all speculation at this point.
Right, nothing except the Ouroboros, which has been a symbol in mortal cultures for just as long as it has in ours. Frankly.
Yeah, what came first is lost to us. Maybe it'll show up eventually, but that said, we don't know where it's coming from. If maybe it's legitimately they just picked it out as something that's recognizable, and the only reason we saw it freaking out is because of the connection. Could just be sheer coincidence. We don't know at this point, and so that's what we need to look into. That said, I don't think we want to get our police contacts involved with this right now because we don't want to set off any alarms. We want to be as quiet as possible while we're still gathering information, and we don't know whose they've paid off. If that information that and we don't know the Astoria Police District's not going to be doing a whole lot to get us a lot of information that way either.
You make some very fair points. Actually, speaking of our police contacts, I should see if Vargas needs anything done for him. I'll contact you if I think of anything else or if I find anything else out.
Sounds good. The only other thing I can think of is if you do find out more about one of these four gentlemen, I could pay them a visit somewhere and see if I can get some information just through conversation from them. Don't know how well that would work. That could be dangerous
if they do prove to be
Yeah,
ghouls.
it would be.
Yeah, if they're ghouls, they may tell someone, they may have it broken, we don't know. So for the time being, we want to stay away from that, stay away from being seen by them at all.
All right, sounds like a plan to me. Yeah, I mean, other than frontal assault on the offices, visible or otherwise, there really is no other thing, and I'm not really willing to do that right now either.
I don't know what we would even want from that aside from maybe a listing of their financial records, and even then, it's hardly worth an assault.
Right, financial records and anything. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a common denominator with whether they're funding something from the company or the person that's funding them is funding someone to. I mean, there's something going on. So
for all we know, this could be mortal mages.
It could be.
There's clearly something unusual going on, but we have no clue of the specifics.
Actually, you bring up mages. They have been known to take interest in economies, large and small.
I wouldn't know. I've heard nothing of them other than rumors.
Well, that's pretty much what I've
Mages.
heard.
Do they even exist?
I don't know. I've heard nothing other than rumors.
My sire definitely thought they existed, and that's where most of my information comes from.
Yeah, that said, I'll do some looking into things on my own. Nothing. Don't expect anything spectacular. Just obviously what I can dig up.
Right. Well, if that's everything then, I should get in contact with Vargas before it's time for me to go to sleep.
Sounds good. And, oh, by the way, glad to see you up in ambulatory.
Thank you.
Yeah, Byron will let his gaze
Click.
linger kind of searchingly, and then he's going to shrug and well, you don't see that. Never mind. I thought we're on the phone. So never
Click.
mind. Yeah,
Click.
click is the right answer.
And then David's going to call up Vargas.
The phone rings for a long time. You get his voicemail.
No, I figured that he was probably asleep.
Yeah, it is 4:30.
Yeah, no, this is late even for him. All right, well, when I get his voicemail, I'll say, Green, wondering if you need help with anything. Click.
Okay.
And that's that.
All right, then takes care of the rest of the night then.
Yeah, David will probably just read like a detective novel until it's time for him to sleep or something.
Okay. Sunlight, sun rises at 6:32 in the morning, courtesy of DST. We've gone back to having sunrise after 6 o'clock. That'll change, of course, as you get later and later in the year. The sort of day passes uneventfully. None of you end up getting awoken or even have to make rolls for anything suspicious or anything unlife-threatening. Everything is great! So, eventually, you all end up arising, losing a point of blood in the process. Still around 11:30 p.m. Checking your voicemail, David. You've got a message from Mikhail Vargas, which basically sounds gruff as yours was. Vargas, call you later. Click.
Man, I'm glad we can talk to each other, on an equal basis.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, that ends up what happens shortly after David awakes. The phone vibrates, and it's Mikhail Vargas.
Green.
Vargas, what's up?
There's a lull in activity on my front. Was wondering if you could use some help with anything.
Mercifully, it does not appear to be the case. It seems that whatever you and your friends have done, I don't have to deal with as much shit anymore.
Good. I was pretty upset about what's been landing on your doorstep lately.
So have I, David. But things have actually picked up a little. I'm all right with lulls in my activity.
Yeah, I mean, boring times the best times. All right, well, if there's nothing, you know who to contact if there is.
Sure do, David.
Keep safe.
As do you.
Click.
Click.
Click. And then I guess David's gonna go get a snack.
Okay. What's everyone else doing?
I think Mark is going to go to the PS1 Contemporary Art Center and see what's the word with the Toreador.
Okay. Joseph, Byron?
Yeah, I was actually going to, I forgot to, but I was going to bring that up with Marcus and say, hey, man, did you know there's an art center down there? But don't spend all night there mesmerized. Yeah, Byron will, I guess, get up, look at the news, see if anything's happened. Then if he doesn't hear anything from anyone else, he'll go out and try to get
No.
some
Things are
as well.
great. You know, the city is looking to be in good shape, particularly with the major infusion of financial resources from Dragon Metro Cab Company, but there have, of course, been numerous other benefactors. And Eastern Seaboard of the United States, which did suffer from that rather hellacious blizzard, is looking to be in good condition as well. It's impossible to estimate just how much damage was done, you know, or it is impossible to, you know, count exactly how many casualties there were, but it really seems like Eastern United States here is banding together in its time of need, and they're helping one another throughout all the stress and misery. Pinpoint of light in the darkness.
Well, that
Joseph,
makes Byron happy.
Joseph's going to be looking up their CEO, going to be looking up any information he can dig up on him, history, address, phone number, everything he can.